Why do we see so many relationship issues in the world today?
If you want a one-word answer, attachment.
Sir, in our relationship, we need to understand people. And does that not require us to kind of have some form of judgment on them?
There are two words, judgment and assessment.
Namaste. Welcome to Wellness Wisdom. Today we talk about expectations and relationships. We have with us Sri Ishwaran, who is going to have a discussion on this topic. Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Sir, in the last episode we spoke about obligations impacting relationships. Why do we see so many relationship issues in the world today?
If you want a one-word answer, attachment. All the relationship problems that we are having today is because of attachment. None of us have a problem relating to other species. There are two. We have plant, animal. We don't have any problem with plant kingdom. We don't have any problem with animal kingdom. They have problem because of us. That's a different story. But we don't have any relationship issues with it. Two human beings have a relationship issue. What is the reason, sir? Fundamental reason is this attachment. Now, what is this attachment? The dangerous aspect of attachment is this. It passes on as love. That's the most dangerous aspect of it. What we are experiencing is attachment, but we call it as love. So, everyone says, I love you. I am so concerned about you. I am so interested about you. I am so anxious about the welfare of you. All that we speak. All the languaging of us, words of us, everything is with reference to the language of love. We speak the language of love, but what we experience is attachment. So essentially you need to know the difference. What is attachment? Keep aside love. Attachment means exclusive ownership of the other person. That exclusivity that I experience, that I want to own the other person. That's where disturbance comes, agitation comes. When I say I want to own that person, what I mean is, you should be available at my beck and call. Whenever I call, you should be there. Whenever I say go, you should go. That's all it is. The mind demands that. This demanding aspect is what is causing the other person a suffocation. It suffocates the other person. Not only it suffocates, it also causes the other bound. Makes you dependent. You become dependent on the other person. And you want the other person also to be dependent on you. It's not only I am dependent on you. If I am only dependent on you, that's okay. But I want you to be dependent on me. That's called attachment. So, if I say, what is opposite of attachment? So I've just given you a few words now. Suffocating, either you get suffocated or you get bound to the other, or you experience the dependency. Not having all these things, if you escape from all these things, we say we have to go to the opposite side. Now, what we don't understand is, when I say attachment, what is opposite of attachment?
Hatred.
Attachment. Love is hatred. What is
Detachment.
opposite of attachment?
Detachment.
Detachment. Correct. This is what all of us do. Language wise, linguistically, opposite of attachment is detachment. But existentially, opposite of attachment is indifference. You see, it's not detachment. It is indifference. Indifference is what? I don't care. I don't even recognize your existence. That's called indifference. I don't even bother. The lady puts so much of effort to prepare the dish. She places on the table and he is eating. As he is eating, suddenly she tastes. She says, "Isn't there less salt?" This man replies saying, "Is that so? I don't know. What is it?" He is not even paying attention to what? Not to what he is eating. He is oblivious to the effort that is put in by that lady. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about what he is doing. This is indifference. Now, your relationships should be avoiding all these things. Not suffocating the other, not making the other dependent, nor you become dependent on the other, or indifference. These are the 4 primary reasons, you can say, for relationship issues. All this, one word I say, is attachment. It's just a hope. Attachment is a hope that happiness, peace, bliss, pleasure will come from you. I get that security through bondage. I bind myself with you and expect peace and security and happiness out of that. The hope of deriving this out of this bondage and dependency is called attachment.
How is attachment linked to expectations and expectations to relationships?
See, I get attached to someone. Why? Because I have a fundamental belief that my pleasure, my joy, happiness is because of the other. Right? And the other is also so innocent and so ignorant. They also give me that. That is what, when we use the word "I love you." When we say "I love you," what we mean there is, I promise to give you happiness. I will be the source of happiness to you. This is one part. Parallelly, all of us say what? Sir, happiness is within, no? Now, if happiness is within, then how can the other person say, "I can give you happiness"? It is not possible. Okay. So, since I believe that I am capable of giving you happiness, I also will parallelly believe you are also should be capable of giving me happiness. Correct? If I can be the source of happiness to you, it goes without saying, you can also be the source of happiness to me. When I say that you should be the source of happiness to me, this is expectation from you. Then I expect something out of myself. What is it? I should be the source of happiness to you. This is where every parent believes that I am going to be the source of joy and happiness to my child. And when they see the child not happy, they feel there is something wrong with their parenting, something wrong with us. Why? Because they believe they are capable of it. This is their fundamental ignorance. So, ignorance causes this attachment. Attachment is what is giving you that expectation. Or you can put it, ignorance, expectations, attachment.
Sir, in our relationship, we need to understand people. And does that not require us to kind of have some form of judgment on them?
Yeah. There are two words, judgment and assessment. You can interchange also. Okay, don't get stuck to the word. In fact, I'm just using these two words to distinguish. There are two ways in which you can. One is called as judgment, another is called as assessment. What is the difference? The difference is this. When I understand the other as they are, that is called assessment. When I understand the other as what I like them to be, when I see the other independent of my backdrop, without my spectacles, that is assessment. Judgment is I put on my spectacles and see the other. That is called judgment. So I see you from your backdrop, assessment. I see you based on my backdrop. That is judgment. I am born and brought up all my life as a vegetarian. In my house, they have been cooking only vegetarian food. I go to my aunt's house, only vegetarian food. I go to my uncle's house, vegetarian. I go to my friend's house, vegetarian. Everywhere vegetarian. Now suddenly when I see a person having a non-veg, why I am a vegetarian? Because I have been brought up with vegetarian. Therefore I am a vegetarian. He is a non-vegetarian. Why he is a non-vegetarian? Because he is brought up. If I am conditioned by my upbringing, he is conditioned by his upbringing.
So right.
This is assessment. Judgment is what? How can you be a non-vegetarian? Wrong, no? Same way, he will look at me and say what? How can you be vegetarian? How can you eat vegetables? Many don't subscribe to the idea of vegetable biryani. There's no such thing called vegetable biryani, sir. They don't subscribe. What is that? Judgment. Why? Because I have my background. I see you from my background. That is called judgment. So when you are using the word, don't we have to judge a person, sir? I am assuming that you are referring to the word assessment. You have to assess the other person. If you do not assess the other and relate, is where you will have expectations from the other. In fact, you will be having a wrong expectations from the other. So lack of assessment leads to wrong expectations. Wrong expectations will lead to disappointments. Disappointments leads to rupture in the relationship. So if you want to have a harmonious relationship, you should not be having any disappointments. To avoid disappointments in relationship, you should have right expectations. I expect. When I walk into the house, when my wife says this is what I have prepared, If my wife prepares vatta kolambu, I don't know you have heard of. There's a thing called vatta kolambu we prepare in the home, vegetarian, tamarind base. When my wife prepares vatta kolambu, it will be watery. If my mom prepares vatta kolambu, it will be pasty. So the moment my wife says, I am preparing vatta kolambu, I say what? I have a right expectation of what? There will be watery one on the plate. No disturbance. Otherwise, what will happen? I will want my wife to prepare pasty vatta kolambu. Won't work. Then there will be fight. Don't even know how to cook. She says, your mom spoiled you, and she will start talking about my mother. Why? All these problems. Why? Because wrong expectations. Wrong expectations. Why? Because of lack of assessment or wrong assessment. Two problems. Either lack of assessment or wrong assessment. You might have assessed wrongly also. That's where we say you need intellect. It is intellect that makes the right assessment. Avoiding judgments. So step 1, avoid judgment. Step 2, make a right assessment. Thereby, you have right expectations. No disappointments, harmony.
So today we are really looking for harmony everywhere, in relationships, in the world, in the workplace. If assessment is the key, how do we do the right assessment? And how do we know that we have done the right assessment?
As I said, first you need to have the understanding about what is assessment. So distinguish, assessment is different, judgment is different. So first you need to ensure that. I am removing my spectacles and keeping aside. Step 1. The second step is, when you say that I am going to make an assessment of the other, we have to understand the other had a particular background. Meaning, to what extent I will go. Say, for example, we'll say, sir, this is Indian mentality. You heard of?
Yeah.
Indian.
Yes.
Now, Indian mentality, we have from Kashmir to Kanyakumari we go. There immediately we say, sir, North Indian mentality different, South Indian mentality different. Correct? South India. In South India you come, person says, sir, Kannadiga is different, Tambram different. Yeah?
Correct.
Okay. In Karnataka you come, we say what? Sir, North Karnataka different, South Karnataka different. Inside South Karnataka we say what? Sir, Bangaloreans are different. In Bangalore, Basavangudi different, Sadashivanagar different. Isn't it?
That's right.
Now, in Sadashivanagar you go, this street is different, that street is different. In that street you go, like I am living in these apartments here. The milkman who comes to deliver milk thinks all of us are, multimillionaires here. No, I am a pauper living here, but he doesn't understand that. He thinks what? All same. But we know the difference. So if you go to Sadashivanagar, in that there is a difference. So you go to one house, what is it, sir? There's a difference. To what extent you are able to get to that specification. You see that? This is the step 2. First, avoiding judgment. Second one is, get that specification of the backdrop. Second point. Step 3. Have a specific criteria to judge or assess. When you have the specific criteria, for example, if I am going to be discussing about the skill of a cricketer, immediately I will ask one question. Batsman, bowler, all-rounder. wicketkeeper. Where? Go to the specific, because the criteria that you can have to assess about a batsman is different from
A bowler.
a bowler.
Correct.
You see, so next one is have that specific agenda. Have a particular criteria to make that assessment. The problem most of us, we don't have the criteria to assess. You see, so fix that criteria first. With all that, you arrive at a conclusion, and always keep one window open. Right? In judgment, what do we do, sir? It's a tomb. Close everything. Assessment is a house where you have windows and doors. A door is what?
Entry and exit.
You can enter from outside inside, also from inside outside. In a tomb, you go inside. That's all. After that, no exit. That is judgment. You see, always have the scope. Sir, all this is too much. Where I am going to do all this? Is there any easier method? There is. Take a guidance from a higher intellect. Again, there is a problem. The problem is, with your intellect alone, you are going to decide who is the higher intellect.
Correct.
Correct. With your knowledge of the language alone, you are going to decide the other person's proficiency in that language. The most unkindest cut of all. With your proficiency, if you read that sentence, you will think Shakespeare doesn't know English. You say, a host of golden daffodils. Wordsworth is wrong, we will say. Why? Because punctuation is not there. There's no comma after a host. Therefore, we will say what? Based on your understanding alone, you will make that. But however, with your current intellect, you go and take guidance from a higher intellect. Another possibility that you can have is little easier one will be how that person has the relationship with others. I am going to make an assessment about my wife. She is wife to me. But what is her relationship with others? With her father, mother, brother, sister, friend, cousin, this, all those aspects. How they are relating to her, how she is relating to them. Have a fair idea. And always keep room for correction with all this. So if you follow these things, you should be able to make a fair assessment.
Thank you so much, sir. We've spoken so interestingly about attachments and relationships and how to do a good assessment. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Stay with us when we return with another episode of Wellness Wisdom.
Click on the bell icon to watch our latest videos.